Hello everybody, it's me. Now, this is gonna be a little bit of a different video than my usual videos. The reason I'm doing this is because I didn't feel like battling very much today, but I'll be back and okay tomorrow. I just had kind of a busy day, and I wanted to, for any new players or players that have been playing for a while but can't seem to get like their PvP grind going, and if you want to get better, I'm going to give you a few tips and even some secret things that I know about. Alright, but now, let's start. First thing you're going to want to know is, how do I make a good team? Now, the basis around a good team is having mostly things that you can switch in and tank hits. Let's say, for example, I was using Protogon, right? It is weak to fire, electric, and earth. Now, I want to find things that are resistant to all of that, right? And a good switch in on any of the electric moves would be Nikazune, because if you look at this, it has rechargeable, and you don't have to use Nikazune. You can use Eliguana. It's whichever one you want to use. You can use a Nikazune, and you can switch in and get your +1 in speed. Then you are going to be in a much better spot to win the game after that battle, or after that play. So. And the earth type, you could use I don't even know what these Garbantuses are. You could use a Garbantus if you wanted to. This is perfect for earth switch-ins, because if you see this trash armor, and it has all of this stuff. It's really good for melee attack switch-ins. Now, certain Loomians can do certain things, and I'll get into that later. But yeah, you could use earth. You can use any of that, but the basis around this is that you want to have things that you can switch in on certain Loomians. Like, say you have a light type move with Nymure, you're going to want to switch in a plant type, or you can even use Eclipse right here. If this is Circadium, I'm an idiot. This is old, don't worry. You could even use a Eclipse that it has one of the best abilities. It has 3 immunities in Spirit, Light, and Dark. It's very strong. This is honestly one of the best Loomians you could have on a team right now. But yeah, you want to have, as I said, a team that can support each other. You could even throw in a Your Snack for baffle support, gives you speed control. You could throw in a Poison Barber like Odasho, Terrafly, or Dorogo for Poison Barbs. You could use Cephalops, Festifer, and Isagul, and Blowotox for Icicle Traps. But the best Icicle Trap setters are Blowotox and Cephalops, and they are they're good at what they do. Where's my Cephalops? Am I blind? Hello? Yeah, and so Cephalops is a good Icicle Trap setter, because if you look at its health stat, that's ridiculous. It can take any one hit from full health, and it's ridiculously powerful. I would recommend using the normal ability. You can, if you want to use a secret ability, you can. It is able to break things clutches like our drones, and you can kill it after it's asleep. But yeah, now the basis of a team. Now, I'm going to show you my team and kind of explain how it works. Now, as you can see here, this is my current team. I'm definitely going to change it. This isn't my permanent team. Don't go being like Medito counters it. Anything counters it. Now, basically, the basis around this team is getting Protogon or Mutagon on the field safely. I can also get Icicle Traps up if I'm lucky with Festifer. And now with Festifer, it has a regift, so you can actually switch in on other things that are trying to set up Poison Barbs or Icicle Traps. It's a good switch in on Blowotox if it's not using Venom Chop. Because as you can see, Icicle Traps, this is kind of the sets that people use, I think, from what I know. It's been a while since I've seen people use Blowotox. But yeah, you could do that. It's a good switch in on those things. Odasho is literally just there to tank for ranged, because this thing is such a tanky ranged defender. It's ridiculous how strong it is. This can 1v1. It can 1v1, I think, any Loomian that is not an ice type, and not a lot of people use ice types right now. Dorogo is here because it's able to steal Analyze, Heavy Fists, or Sharp Claws from the opponents, or it can provide, like, I think Baffle support is pretty good, but I would not recommend using this set that I'm using if you want to, like, actually use a Dorogo correctly. I'd recommend using something like Primal Slash, Slap Down, Baffle, Poison Barbs. That's the Barb Setter set. You could even use Slapdown, Primal Slash, Barter, or Baffle Barbs. You could use Barter Baffle Barbs with Slapdown, but with Barter you would use Volcanic Ash, and then Slapdown would just be there just to get rid of items. And the Vesperatu is here because it can dish out some enormous damage. It can also lure out its Eclipse. If I lure out Eclipse, I can switch into Festifer or Audasho, or even Mudagon if I wanted to, and then if I felt confident enough. And then I can deal some damage. It's good for luring out Eclipses. There's also... It's also, Slapdowns are just brutal. You get Stab from Dark with Dark Essence with Sharp Claws. That is ridiculously powerful. Even a very robust Garbantis, I would say, takes like even that much health if it has an item. That's a lot of health for something that's supposed to resist it. And now you have Mudagon. Now Mudagon is here for priority and killing things late game. If you keep this thing alive on the field late game, it can definitely deal a lot of damage and be a massive threat. If you... Now, common switch-ins to this... I should explain the switch-ins into this. Common switch-ins into this are Metatoad, Ursul, and Vesperatu, and Gobodemic. Those are things that are used right now to get rid of Mudagon, because Mudagon is a threat right now. But you got, if you ever see that on someone's team, you have to predict them. Say that they switched in a trying to think of something. A Eclipse, for example, right? Now, Eclipse can Raging Howl, but then it'll die out Mega Punch. And so then you could Telekinetic Sweep, predicting them switching, and then get damage on their Gobodemic. You can kill Gobodemic, kill Ursul. You can't kill Metatoad or Vesperatu. So if you see Vesperatu or Metatoad on someone's team, whenever you have a Mudagon, it's ridiculously hard to deal with for Mudagon, because they're good counters to it. Now, I'm using Arapago right now, mostly for the memes, but because I think it's actually really good. Look at this move pool. Electric, Ice, Water, and Dark. I'm going to get rid of Ice later because I don't see a use for it. It's only for Florant. It's really only there for Florant. Now that it has this and this, its coverage is just insane. It has such wide coverage. I'm going to make a new one. So this will not be the normal Arapago, unfortunately. But yeah, it has a lot of coverage and it's good for killing things early, but common switches into this are... There's nothing can switch into it though for free. It's gonna get damage off no matter what. Now Protogon is a fun one. Now there are three main things people use to check a Protogon. There is Tyrex. I guess that's a counter, not a check. There's Chartiki and there's Metatoad. Now with because Metatoad resists, Chartiki resists and is immune. Tyrex resists, immune, and is neutral to this, but it still can tank it. But Protogon is always a scary thing to see on the field, and you don't want to... If you're a Protogon player like I am, you have to play it very safe and hope that everything goes your way, basically. But the synergies in this team are Ice, you switch, or you switch, or you... I think... You switch into it. No, you don't. So if Ice comes in, I can switch into you or you, which are two offensive ones. And if you get your two offensive Loomians on the field, it's really good. And then we have... This is just here for memes. These two have a synergy because Revenines that come in to go kill it, or like spam Fire Breath, you could also have synergy with it, I guess. But this can also check a Vesperatu or counter it because it resists Slapdown and Phantom Slash, so that's really good. You could just use Cephalop. Cephalop is just really good. But actually these four have a synergy, or Dorogo has a synergy with like every Loomian on the team besides Audasho and Festifer, because it can take its Sharp Claws, its Heavy Fists, its Analyze, and it can just deal damage from there. But it's kind of luck based with Analyze, so they're kind of iffy. But I guess you could switch in on a metal move that comes in on Dorogo. And with Arapago, they have a synergy with Festifer because you can switch in on the electric, but the toxic, if people were paying close attention, you'll notice that toxic threatens my team. And I don't know how to deal with it very well right now, but I'm working around it. If I ever see, because the thing right now that threatens my team the most is not even a hunter. It's this thing. Look at this. It's stupid. It can throw out. Look at these muck blasts. It's almost 100 base power. It's ridiculous. It's very strong. Goblin Dynamic is very good right now. I'd recommend using it if you're a new player and you just want easy wins. Just kidding. But yeah, it's scary me having to go up against Goblin Dynamics because they'll poison you. They have such a high chance to poison. It's ridiculous. But let's say I made a team. Let me find one. You think of a team off the top of my head that's kind of annoying to deal with. Let's say I made a team like this. And I'm gonna try to, this is gonna look familiar to some people that are tryhards in a way. I think this is how they kind of go. Now, these kind of teams are called hyper offense. As you can see, everything on this team is meant to deal damage to you. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, see, you have 2 slapdown switch-ins, right? With you and you. If you're quad weak to light, you switch this in, you're fine. If there's a program on the field, you're fine. Like, these kind of teams are difficult to play around because, see, you have 3 Mutagon counters, right? You have 3 Mutagon counters. Switches into practically everything, and you have a late game cleaner and hunter. These teams are hard to play around, but these are called hyper offense. And if you see Loomians like these on team, if you ever see like a team that has a Vesperotto and its Eclipse, you should be afraid because of the synergy these two have. These two have such a ridiculous synergy, and if you are an experienced player, you should know not to throw out your energy surges or slapdowns very much if you ever see like a Vesperotto and Eclipse on the same team, because they are scary to have to deal with. And now, as you can see, I'm kind of making a different kind of team. And some players that I think some players are going to know what these teams are. This is just an example, by the way. I don't think that's how they go. I think they go more like you need like one thing that does damage. Like this. These are called stall teams, and let me tell you, they are annoying to have to play around because look at this. You could have like tank. You should get tank. It's a little better than this, although I'm not going to admit it, even though I just did. But yeah, everything on this team has defensive utility. You are a ranged tank, you're a ranged tank, you're a melee tank, you're a tank, you're a ranged tank, you're a melee tank. You can clean up early game or late game. You can do like, these teams are difficult to play around, but if you look closely, 2 things that can check Mutagon. This thing can check Mutagon-ish. It can't dish out any damage to Mutagon, but it can switch into it if you get proper play. This thing could also swap in and check a Mutagon, because look, you got very robust. That defense stat is out of the wind, is ridiculous. You have brace, like you can switch on it and then you can kill it pretty easily. But yeah, these kind of teams, if you see them, these are stall, and the way to break them is with a heavy hitter. Like Mutagon, for example, is a heavy hitter, and it can deal a lot of damage. Now, I can see some people that might be a little bit of veterans on my channel already going like, don't you hate stall? Why do you use Odasho? I use Odasho because it's a freaking piece of candy. I'm not going to pass up on having a piece of candy on my team, okay? You never know, I might get hungry. But yeah, these are stall teams, but they usually have a bunch of stalling stuff and then one thing that can dish out damage, or 2. You never know. Now, I'm trying to think of another one. Let's go. I'm going to try to think of one that I've been seeing a lot recently. yeah, I think this is a team. I think some people have had encounters with this exact same team. Tell me if you have, because I'm actually curious. This is like a mix of hyper offense with poison stall. Because if you're using an actual Dorogo, you're gonna use Baffle with poison barbs, and yeah, but with Baffle and barbs, it's you get speed control and you get barbs on the field, and it's hard to take them down if you don't have trap removal, which I'm gonna get trap removal pretty soon. But if you're worried, if you see these teams, just be wary. But you can play around it with proper play. Like a Protogon can destroy this team if you kill Metatoad or Terraclaw, and Terraclaw if they brought them both. And now this is bringing me to another part in PvP, is predictions. Now, people may think that, oh, if you're going to predict, you just got to think about what your opponent's going to do, and then you do it. There's a little more to it than that. That's kind of the basic gist of it, but there's a little more to it. Basically, if you're going to predict something, I would say you might need to be a little experienced to know how to predict, because you have to know what kind of sets people are running. Like, you should know off of one move the damage, how fast it is or how slow it is, how much damage it does, basically. Like, you can tell what set somebody's running by the damage that they do to you. Like, say a Terraclaw. Mine, this one I have right here is a very brawny one. You can tell if I switch something in. Say I switched in, what resists bug? Let's say I switched in, Protogon, right? And a normal Terraclaw would be, like, very clever, would do, like, that much. Right? With Parasite, like, that much. But a very brawny one would do, like, this much. So, what you have to be worried about, you have to be able to tell what people are using on somebody's team. But if you look and you are an experienced player, I'm not going to say that all players aren't experienced, because everyone is good in their own way. But if you look at somebody's team and, geez, my eyes are pained because I just got out of the shower. But basically, you have to know, like, what a team is whenever you're getting into battle, and you should just know what you're getting into before, like, you pick your Loomians. Like, if you saw someone, like, say you watch Jamie sweep someone with a Garbantus or an Ikazune, right? You're like, oh, I could do that. So you just pick up your Ikazune that you saw him use, and then you're like, wait, he switched this in on a Zulong, right? And I have my Vesperatu out. So if I switch in Ikazune, I can get the sweep. No, that's a dumb idea. Don't do that, please. I don't need to see that. But yeah, mostly because Zulong has 2 moves, Thunderstrike, Elemental Burst are its main moves. But yeah, you have to know, like, what the sets are currently. Like, right now, Mudagons are using Brawny with Quick Punch. You are using very robust. Ventations are using very robust with Battering Ram. These are using Tank with robust. Like, you have to know what things are using. Like, Gobodemics are using Smart Nimble. Like, there's a lot of things that are being used right now, and I get that it might be kind of hard to have to memorize all of this stuff, but once you do, it's gonna be a lot easier in PvP for you. Like, I promise you, it'll be a lot easier. And now we're gonna get to some cool little tricks that I actually know about. So, wrong one. If you go to Eclipse and you see its ability, Total Eclipse. When struck by a light or dark type attack, and this Loomian absorbs it to boost its speed. That actually reminds me, there's two more subjects I'm going to talk about that I'm going to probably end this commentary. But yeah, if you have a Eclipse, these are some cool little tricks that I know. Say that you Airbladed a Eclipse with Nymare, right? But most Eclipses use Smart Clever nowadays, so Airblade would not break their Scapegoat unless it critted. So, basically, what you're left with is you're sitting there like, crap, I can't break their Scapegoat, they got a Disperse up on me, they're gonna kill me, right? But if they're behind a Scapegoat, their ability does not matter. You can actually use a dark or light type move on a Total Eclipse to Eclipse if they're behind a scapegoat. Otherwise, it will not work. It's a good fact to know, and it has saved me multiple times in battles where I can't break their scapegoat with one certain neutral move, but then I could break it with my Dark Surge or Gamma Pulse. It helps a lot. If you know about this trick, good for you. I'm useless. And still on the subject of scapegoats, Mewtwo's Raging Howl. Now, I think it might be bugged right now, but Raging Howl hits you through Scapegoat. I don't know how, but you can hit through Scapegoat with a Mewtwo. I'm gonna fix my Mewtwo, people. Calm down. I know you guys are mad that I still have Dodge, but I'm going to fix it. Just calm down. But you can use Raging Howl through a Scapegoat, so if you see a Mewtwo on the field and you're scapegoated, they're going to hit you through that. And if you see Mewtwo's range attack stat, that's ridiculous. And if you look at that, that's ridiculous. That's level 33. Look at its ability, that's ridiculous. It's actually 20%, not 10. That's so much damage. The type assessments with that, it's very strong. So be careful with scapegoats with something that has Raging Howl. Or Piercing Drive, or Finesse. Now, the final thing. Abilities. Abilities are very, very important in some games. Let me show you one ability that makes Hunder what it is. Now, this might be the very number one, but it is. Now, Hunder has Brute Force. Remove secondary effects of your moves to deal pure increased damage. So that means I can't flinch or paralyze my opponent, but I get more damage. That's 30% stronger. Only 30. And if you look at a good Hunder, what? Okay. If you look at a good Hunder, it says Secret. Body attacks deal 50% more damage. And if you look at this, it gets access to all of these moves. Its coverage is really, really good. So, knowing what Loomian's abilities are is really good before you go into battle. Because if you go into battle seeing that Jamie used a very brawny Gobademic, and you're like, oh, Gobademic, that was just used. Let's say that you were using a very brawny Gobademic. Stop. It may be overpowered as crap, but I think it's gonna be banned from Ubers pretty soon. It should be an anything goes. But you have to know, as I said, what Loomians do what in a battle. Like, if I was to like click a random Loomian here, like Skellig, right? I'm going to think about I'm gonna be like, oh, so is he gonna damage me? Is he gonna baffle me? I would think about Baffle, because that's one of his most useful moves. Then I could go to Swolder, and then this thing, this is used for stall. You can poison, rejuvenate. You can do a lot with Swolder. Like, you have to know what Loomians do what. You can't throw out a very smart gas stroke and expect it to work if a YouTuber did it, for example. If a YouTuber was using a very smart gas stroke and you threw that out and then it wasn't working like it did in their video, that's because they know what it's supposed to do. And in PvP videos or showcases, people try to explain kind of the basics of what you're supposed to do with a Loomian. Like, I try my best to explain what a Loomian is supposed to do. Like Hoganosh, for example, this is supposed to be, I would say, a bulky setup stall. Not stall, a bulky setup damage dealer. I would say that's what it is. Because if you look at its move pool, that's decent. It actually has decent coverage in Dark and Fire. Because it can hit some water types, I think. You could get Venom Chomp if you wanted to. But I wouldn't recommend it. It's not very good. But, yeah. Important thing to know is what Loomians do what. Now, I'm going to do one more example before I end it. Let's say I swapped in Infernix. Now, this is a Loomian that has multiple versions of it. You could have the clever Protagon check set. You could have the Smart Pyro, the Nimble Pyro, the Robust Power Napper. Like, there's a lot of things that you can do with this one Loomian. So the important thing is to scout out what that Loomian does by switching in a certain Loomian, like, say, a range tank as Terraclaw, because Terraclaw can switch in and hit it super effectively with Cyclone Slam. And if you scout out, because what's important is that some Loomians run on like one specific set, while different ones can run multiple, like Nymare, I think can run a few different sets. It can run the Peace of Mind, Bulky, I'd say Trap Remover, because since it's got Flash and Flee, you could use like Barter, Gust, Flash and Flee, and like Peace of Mind, I guess. I don't know why you would do that though, that sounds really bad. Not the Trap Removal, the Peace of Mind on one of those kind of Nymares. Like, these are Loomians that you need to figure out what they do. Most people use Hypnotize and Disperse, because good job. I'm just kidding. It's a joke. Calm down. But learning what Loomians do what is important. Like, a Revenine is Loomian that has one set. One. And that's like Fire Breath, Ghostly Howl, Dark Surge, Spectral. You could use Spectral Burst if you wanted to, but this can hit through dodge. Dark Surge, Shadow Sprint, or Final Ruse. I'm not fixing my Revenine right now because I don't use it right now. There's no point, in my opinion. But it's kind of a very important thing to note in PvP is knowing what does what and what Loomians are supposed to do what. And scouting out the opponent's team if there's team preview. You have to know what you're getting into before you start the battle. Because if you don't, it could lead to cataclysmic events. Let's say, I just want to do every example possible, but I'm just going to do a little bit more until I want to end it, because I'm going to keep going until I die. But if you have a Deludrix, and you see a Zulong and a Stratosaur, but there's also a Revenine, a Garbantis, and a Ruptidon on their team, right? What kind of team is that? And a Metatoad if you wanted to, but that would, and you had Deludrix, and you're looking at that like, alright, that's a few things that could kill Deludrix if I play it poorly. Now, if I saw that, I would immediately think like, alright, I'm gonna play it safe and bring my other team members, but a lot of the times you have to play it risky and bring different Loomians onto a team. Like, if I was fighting a team that had like 2 electric types, the rest got completely destroyed by Deludrix's Ferroblast or something like that, I'm gonna bring Deludrix and get rid of the 2 threats, because most of what high-level battling is getting rid of the threats that can kill your team, and then ending up sweeping with something of your own. That's what the meta is, in my opinion, right now. Or you just stall with poison. And I'm trying to think of another thing. I guess you could say playstyle, but I feel like there's 3 things you need to know in PvP. What Loomian does what, scout out what set they're using, and kind of, I'd say, knowing what you're doing. And that's kind of what I'm going to say for now. I'll probably do a part 2 on this later, because I kind of enjoyed speaking about PvP for hours on end. But yeah, if you did enjoy me talking about how to get better at PvP and what things do what, leave a comment down below about what you think I should do next, or what Loomian I should cover, or if I should do this like again on what kind of teams are good right now, because I should have done what teams are really good right now. I'm going to do that real quick. Loomians that are really good, and I think I already did this, but Gobodemic is really good, Zulong is really good. I'm gonna try to get all Loomians that are really good. So you're really good, you're really good, you are really good, you're really good, I don't think anyone uses you, you're pretty good, and you're really good. And let's say you're here as well. You're just going to be in the middle. But yeah, these are kind of the Loomians that are really good right now. And if you look at it closely, all these Loomians can defeat each other, except Gobodemic, because Gobodemic is completely broken. You can even throw Stratosaur in there to try to counter it, but one more thing. I said this 3 times already, but I'm going to keep going. I think this is probably the last one. If there's something that's killing your team and you're getting put down about it, don't give up, alright? Just think about what has been killing you, and then work from there. That's what I did, and that's how I made my current team. Literally the only thing that kills me right now is Gobodemic, or I just play like, I literally just got the game yesterday, which there could be Timmies that do that. But yeah. Anyways, thank you everybody for watching the PvP commentary, and I am probably going to do part 2 of this, because if you want to get better, you should just listen to what I'm trying to say. But anyway, thank you all for watching this, and I will see you guys next time.